In 1903, the Mount Victory Camp meeting was supposed to be a sacred gathering. Families came from Pulaski County and beyond. They came to sing, pray, listen to preaching, and take part in a tradition that had drawn hundreds of people year after year. But on the final day of that meeting, the sound of worship was shattered by gunfire. By the time it was over, 3 men were dead. Several others were wounded or running for their lives through the woods. Constable William Bolton had reached his end of watch. Rural communities gathered for camp meetings, part church service, part social event. In Mount Victory, it was a major tradition. J.B. Sanders owned the Nunnally Springs tract. He built a structure big enough to hold more than 1,500 people. In August 1903, handbills advertised the meeting from August 29th through September 6th. It was expected to draw a massive crowd, but no one who arrived that final Sunday could have known they were walking into one of the bloodiest days in memory. Constable William Bolton was 41. He lived near Nunnally Springs with his wife, Martha, and their daughters. Bolton was a local law officer, the kind of man who served papers, made arrests, and stepped into disputes before they boiled over. In a rural community, authority was personal. And Bolton had one more reputation that mattered. He was a marksman. The final day fell on Sunday. Constable Bolton was there with his family. So were 2 brothers, Charles and Tweed Richmond. Near the doorway, an argument broke out. Trouble went back to an old feud that had been simmering beneath the surface. Suddenly, Charles Richmond pulled a pistol and opened fire on Constable Bolton. One of the shots struck Bolton in the leg. As Bolton fell, Tweed Richmond joined in. But what they didn't expect was that William Bolton could still fight from the ground. Outnumbered, Bolton drew his own pistol. He fired at Charles, then Tweed. Both Richmond brothers fell dead near him, but the violence was not over. A relative, Columbus C. Garrison, entered the scene and opened fire on the injured Bolton. Constable William Bolton was killed where he lay. His end of watch came at a church gathering in front of a crowd of worshipers. The shooting didn't end with only 3 dead. Constable Smith was also shot in the shoulder, suffering a dangerous wound. The crowd panicked. People ran into the woods, some getting lost for miles. 2 women were reportedly struck during the chaos. The minister approached the dead men to pray. But even then, peace had not returned to the Mount Victory meeting grounds. A man used the muzzle of a pistol to knock the minister's hat from his head. The message was clear: do not interfere. William Bolton's son rode up and found his father dead. Grief overcame him, and he began firing wildly into the air. The killing unleashed panic, grief, and fury. This was not just a shooting. It was a public rupture of a sacred gathering. Law enforcement began searching for Columbus C. Garrison. He was wanted for the murder of Constable William Bolton. 5 days later, Garrison was arrested by officers Hines and Elrod. His bond was fixed at $2,000. Newspapers reported that Bolton may have managed to wound Garrison before the fatal blow. None of his shots went wild. Witnesses said a man with a rifle wouldn't let anyone move the bodies into the shade. They were left in the hot sun. In July 1906, a Pulaski County jury acquitted Columbus Garrison. 3 years had passed since that bloody Sunday. Columbus Garrison eventually moved to Mississippi. Martha Bolton stayed on the farm for a time, raising their daughters. Martha outlived William by 40 years. She carried the cost of that day long after the headlines had disappeared. Bolton stood between order and chaos with courage and reputation. More than a century later, his name is remembered. This was Hometown Heroes, Pulaski County Constable William Bolton. End of watch, September 6, 1903.